Hello everyone, welcome back to the next video. In this video we will be looking into how to create microservices using Spring Boot. So let's get started. So the first thing which you have to do is you will have to go to start.spring.io, and here first I need to create a Eureka server. So this Eureka server is from Netflix, which does all the heavy lifting for us. That's why inside add dependencies, select Eureka server. In project I have selected Maven, but if you want Gradle you can select that as well. I am using Java, and current version at the time of recording Spring Boot is 3.2.5. then I have just changed the group name, artifact, package name as well. Packaging is jar and I am using Java 17. Then just click on generate. You will get a zip file, unzip it. So here I am inside my project. So as you can see, this is the discovery project which has been created by Spring Boot. Then inside application.properties, inside resources application.properties, I have added few things. So first is the application name, which I have named it as discovery service. Then the port 8010. Then the host name is localhost. Then register with Eureka is false, and the default zone is so HTTP. Then it will take the host name which we have given, localhost over here. Then server.port is 8010/Eureka, and inside discovery application.java, so you can go over here and you will have to add this annotation of enable Eureka server as well. Then you can just start your Spring Boot application, and then if you go to localhost 8010, you should see this Spring Eureka thing. The next thing which you have to do is you will again have to go to start.spring.io. Select language as Java, project is Maven, Spring Boot 3.2.5. In group I have added as com.nobody.photoapp.api. Artifact is user, name is user, description user microservice. Package name is com.nobody.photoapp.api.user. Packaging is jar, I am using Java 17. And inside dependencies you will have to add Spring Web, Eureka discovery client, not server but client, Spring Boot dev tools, as well as validation. The next thing is just click your project, just click on generate. It will create a project for you, unzip it and add it inside your workspace. So here you can see this is my discovery Spring Boot project, and this is the user one. So make sure they are not inside each other, but they are in the same working directory. Then what I did was you can just go to application.properties, which is present inside users. I have set the name, I have set the server port as 0. Then the Eureka client service URL.default zone is localhost 8010/Eureka, and Spring Boot dev tool restart enable I have kept it as true, so that anytime I make a changes it should automatically restart. So this should be inside the application properties of your users. The next thing which I have done is that I have created a folder called UI. Inside that I have created a folder called controllers, and inside that I have created a file called usercontroller.java, and here I have added all the imports. So basically I am creating a REST API endpoint. So I have marked this class as REST controller as well as request mapping. So this would be our endpoint /users. Inside that I have created one method, so I'm just returning working, some string for now, and you would check this on /status/check. So all you have to do, the next thing which you will have to do is firstly go to discovery application.java and click on run, or if you are using Eclipse, just run your discovery application.java first. So Eureka server should be running, then you will have to run your user application.java. So just run on that, and here you can see I have two terminal windows open. So one is for our discovery application, second is for user application, and discovery should be ran first. Then you can just go to your localhost 8010, just refresh it, and you should see users-ws as well. And if you click on this, you might not see your endpoint, so you will have to manually change your URLs to /user/status/check. So if I just click on this here, you can see you should see something like this, but keep the IP as same and port number as same, but you will have to change the endpoint to /user/status/check, and you should see this working status which we return from our REST API endpoint, right? So /user/status/check, and it returns working. So that's what we are able to see. The next thing which I have done is that I have created one more microservice for accounts management. So if you see over here, go to start.spring.io, again Java Maven 3.2.5, group is com.nobody.photoapp.api, artifact is account, name is account, description account management, and this is the package name. Packaging is jar, Java is 17. Then just click on generate. Oh sorry, make sure you add all these dependencies: Spring Web, Eureka Discovery Client, as well as Spring Boot Dev Tools as well. Then click on generate and make sure you unzip it and then just drag and drop to your workspace. So here you can see I have dragged and dropped to my workspace. So these are the three files which I have, three Spring Boot projects which I have. Then you will have to go to application.properties of your account and make sure you add this name, which is account-ws. Server port is 0 because we want to get a port number automatically assigned from Eureka. Then the default zone is localhost :8010/Eureka, and restart enabled I have kept it as true. Then inside account I have created a folder called UI/controllers. Inside over here I have created account controller.java. Again it is a REST API endpoint, so REST controller request mapping /account, and here I have created a get mapping of /status/check, and here we are just returning status called working. Then you will have to make sure you have this discovery Eureka server already running. First run that, then if you want you can again run this user one. If you already have it running, don't need to restart, and then you will have to run your account one as well. So I already have all the three runnings. Okay, then if you go to localhost :8010, you should see something like this. So if you click over here for account, you would see something like this. You will have to change the URL to /account/status/check. Rest everything else would remain the same, the IP address as well as the port number, and here you should see working like this. And I have similar result for our users as well, so even that is working fine. Next thing which we will do is we will be creating our Spring Cloud API gateway. So again you will have to go to start.spring.io, and here again same Java Maven 3.2.5, group I have given is at com.nobody.photoapp.api, artifact name API gateway, name same API gateway, description is account management. Sorry, this should not be account management, but I think that's fine. You can give it as Spring Cloud API gateway description, something like that, and you will have this package name been created. Packaging is jar, version Java 17, and in dependency you will first have to add Spring Reactive Web, Eureka Discovery Client, and here you will have to add Reactive Gateway. Then just click on generate, you will get a zip. Again you will have to unzip it and add it to your workspace. Once you add it, so this is my API gateway, and here is the application.properties of my API gateway. So I'll just comment this out. Okay, I need to show you guys few things. So firstly I'll just comment this thing out. So here I have the API gateway name as API-gateway. It is running on port 8082. You can run it on any port, but I'm choosing 8082. Default zone is localhost :8010/Eureka. That's where our Eureka server is running. Then here I have set the locator as locator enabled equal to true, and lowercase service ID equal to true. So I'll locator. So what I'll do is, so just start your Eureka server, then start your user application, user microservice, and also start your API gateway. So do follow this particular order. So I already have my API gateway running. I'll just remove this and run it again because I made some changes in application.properties. Then if I go to my Eureka server, I'll just refresh this. Ignore this red color warning. So here I have my API gateway as well as user microservice running. Now I want to call the user API endpoint which we have created through this API gateway, right? So what I can do is I'll just refresh this. Okay, this is working. This should not work. Okay, so again ignore this. So here to call our users API endpoint, what you will have to do is you will have to go to localhost :8082. That's where our API gateway is. Then you will have to go to user/ws. Now this user/-ws comes from this particular name. So this is the name, and given that this is capital, we want it small because mostly URL contain small letters. That's why I have kept this lowercase service ID as true. Alright, if you don't pass this lowercase service ID, then here users dash ws should be capital. Rest everything can be small, but users dash ws should be capital. I have made it as true, so I can write it in small case. Then what is our API endpoint for users? So users slash status slash check, right? So here you can see if I visit this, it is working for me. Now the second thing which I want to show you is, I'll just comment this out. Okay, wait, and I'll uncomment this particular thing. So here what we are doing is that we are assigning an ID called users slash status user dash status dash check. Then this URI, we are setting one URI. This LB stands for load balancer, and users dash ws because that's the name which we have inside our Eureka server. So this users dash ws, and we want the path to be users slash status slash check. Method should be get, and here I have added a remove request header of cookie. Okay, so here now, so I'll just, so let's see, I will not restart my server. Let's see if this takes an effect or not. If I rerun this, okay, this is working. This should, okay, I need to restart my server. So what I'll do is I'll just stop the API gateway part and I'll just rerun it. Keep the discovery and user microservice running. Okay, now if I go to this API endpoint, this should not work. So here you can see, because we don't want this users dash ws inside our URL. I only want localhost colon 8082 slash users slash status slash check. If I refresh this, here you can see now this is working. So this is how you map it. So this is something called manual mapping. This is automatic mapping. There is other ways as well. Again, I don't want to confuse you too much, but I just want to show it as many ways as possible. So this is the other way. Okay, so here as you can see, we are doing the same thing what we have done above, but here I want the user dash ws as well as the path, and here we are rewriting the path. So whenever you hit this API endpoint, call this particular thing. Now instead of this, you can also use something like this. So this is called like regular expression. So this part is the same, right, over here as well. So I'm using a regular expression over here. Okay, but I don't really like this thing, so I won't use it. So if I just stop this and if I rerun my API gateway again, now this should stop working. So if I refresh, here you can see it has stopped working, and if I refresh this now, this should work. So here you can see it is working now, but there is even a better way. So you can have both of those. So for that you just have to do again the same thing. Locator is enabled, lowercase service ID is true, then users dash status dash check, LB load balancer, user dash ws, and path is users slash status slash check. Method is get, remove request header equal to cookie. For that I have applied a filter. Okay, and if I refresh this now, sorry, I forgot to restart my server. API gateway, cloud API gateway, sorry. I refresh this. Okay, I'll refresh this now. It is working. If I go over here, this is also working. So yeah, that's the advantage. So maybe we'll keep this for now, but later on if we want, we will change it to something else. The next thing which I want to discuss with you is, so here you can see we have this application properties for our users microservice, right? So this is 0 by default. Suppose I start my Eureka server. Okay, then I start my users application, users microservices. Okay, it has started one instance. I will start one more instance. So it has started 2 instance, right? Now I will go to localhost 8010, refresh it. But here you can see, even though I have started 2 microservices, it is only showing me 1 microservices. To overcome that, what we can do is, I'll just stop everything. You will have to go to application.properties of your users microservice, and here I have added this port. So what basically it does is that if you want, you can send your own port but if not, if you don't send your own port, it will assign some random port. Also you have to provide an instance ID. For that you will have to write something like this: spring.application.name, spring.application.instance ID, and pass our random value to it. So now I'll just save it. I'll start my Eureka server again, then I'll start users application. So it has started. I will start one more users application. Okay, I'll go to my Eureka server, I'll quickly refresh it, and okay, why is it showing one? Okay, there is some error for this user microservice. I don't know what. I'll just stop it and I'll run one more. Maybe by that time the Eureka microservice might haven't started. I must have quickly started the user microservice, that's why it might have shown some error. If I refresh here, you can see now we have two things. You can also start your microservice by going to your user microservice in terminal and then running this particular command: mvn springboot run dash dspring dash boot dot run dot arguments, and here you have to pass equal to dash dash this one, spring.application.instance ID. So that's what I have written, and here you can pass any ID. I have just passed it as nobody. And if I run this, if I refresh my Eureka server, here you can see I am able to see this nobody as well. Now I will also show you, if you want, you can open one more window of your terminal and use the same command, and here you can use something like pass the port as well, but this is not working for me. I don't know why, but we will have to make sure that you wrap this inside double quotes. So here you can see I'm passing the same thing, dash dash server dot port, which we had over here, and assigning it some port. If I run this, it does start our microservice, but it doesn't attach it on 899. I don't know why. So here you can see we have that particular microservice. If I run it, open it, here it still uses 52858. I don't know why, but yeah, it seems to be at least it is starting our different user microservices. Now what I will do is that I need to test this with our API gateway. So what I did, inside users controller.java, I have imported this environment from spring framework.core.env.environment, and I have auto wired it. So I have also added the auto wired import, and here inside our response I'm also giving back what port our API gateway is hitting. Alright, so what I will do is, firstly I'll go to my discovery application, I'll quickly run it. So it will start our Eureka server. So this is taking, okay, so once this has started properly, I'll go to user application, I will start one, I'll start another one. So I have two users application running, okay, and I'll also start one from over my terminal. I'll start one more. So I have 4 user microservices. I'll quickly refresh my Eureka just to see, okay, I have 4 microservices, and here then I'll run my API gateway. So I have my API gateway running as well. Now if you try to hit this particular API endpoint, you can either hit this or this, it doesn't really matter, because we have considered both of these API endpoints. If I refresh, here you can see it is hitting different ports for user API endpoint. I'm just doing refresh, same for this particular API endpoint as well, as you can see. So yeah, that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye.